On the occasion of the death of the former Pope Benedict XVI, we are going to do this program in which we are going to analyze what his role was in World War II, in which he was a member of the Hitler Youth and was mobilized for combat. Joseph Ratzinger was born on April 16, 1927 in a small town in the southeast of Bavaria, which bordered Austria. Ratzinger was the son of a German police officer, and it was clear to him from a young age that he wanted to be a priest. As the future pope later commented, his family was quite reluctant to the Hitler government, which came to power when Ratzinger was very close to turning 6 years old. The main reason for this opposition to Hitler was that his family was very religious and he considered that National Socialism was negative for Catholicism. This made the young Ratzinger stay as far away as possible from the social activities that took place at that time. At the end of the 1930s, when he was approximately 12 years old, Ratzinger began his religious training in a seminary, which was soon altered when he turned 14 in 1941 and had to join the Hitler Youth. At this time the situation for Germany was still not bad, and the young Ratzinger was able to continue leading a more or less normal life in his religious formation. Although he now had new obligations as a member of the Hitler Youth, according to his brother Jorge, Joseph Ratzinger tried to avoid these activities whenever he could. It was precisely the following year in 1942, when his brother Jorge, who was already 18 years old, was called up and joined the Wehrmacht. This older brother of the future pope, who would later also become a priest, was sent to the Italian front where he participated in several clashes until he was wounded in May 1944 north of Rome. He subsequently would continue in Italy until he was taken prisoner at the end of the war. The turn for Joseph Ratzinger, who was 3 years younger than his brother, would come in 1943 when he turned 16 years old. Although on this date Germany was still far from defeated, it was very clear that the war had taken a radical turn in recent months, and this led to the application of measures that began to affect boys of the age of the future Benedict. The main reason was that soldiers were needed on all combat fronts, and this led to certain tasks that were not very complicated, becoming increasingly younger boys who could take care of them, while older men were sent to fight on the front lines. Thus, and also due to the heavy bombardment that Germany began to receive from the summer of 1943, the members of the Hitler Youth assumed the task of the anti-aircraft defense of Germany. Their main task was to be assistance to the anti-aircraft artillery. The first military occupation in which the young Joseph Ratzinger was assigned was in the anti-aircraft defense of the BMW factory that was on the outskirts of Munich. There he served until the summer of 1944, while he continued his formation as a priest. It is not known exactly how many combats Ratzinger participated in, but it is estimated that there must have been many, since the city received numerous air attacks, and in some of these attacks, several members of the unit that Ratzinger was in caused casualties due to death or wounds. It is estimated that for that summer of 1944, a little over 1 million young Germans, including boys and girls, were part of this corps of anti-aircraft defense assistance under the command of the Luftwaffe. As we have previously pointed out, this meant that more than 1 million older German men could fight on the front line. In any case, everything changed for Ratzinger when he got a little older, and at the end of 1944 at the age of 17 he received basic training as an infantryman and was sent to Hungary. Let us remember that on that date Germany was completely surrounded on all fronts, and Hungary was being attacked by the Soviets. The role that Ratzinger had here was to build anti-tank traps and place mines that were to delay the advance of the Red Army. After months in this sector, in which the German army gradually retreated, Ratzinger deserted along with other comrades in the final days of World War II and went to his house. Ratzinger's parents moved several times during the 1920s and 1930s, being the town of Tronstein, southeast of Munich, where they settled permanently. This was the town that the future pope would remember as his true childhood home. This information is important because Ratzinger ended up being captured by the Americans near Ulm, which is more than 100 kilometers west of Munich. Thus, everything indicates that Ratzinger went as far west as he could to avoid falling into Soviet hands, as did millions of Germans. In any case, he ended up being identified as an ex-combatant in the German army, and was captured by the Americans and sent to a prison camp where he was held for a month before he was released. So, and without wasting time, the following year in 1946, Ratzinger continued his studies in Catholic theology and philosophy at the University of Munich, doing what he had always wanted to do. Well, up to hear the story of Pope Benedict XVI during the Second World War, who has just passed away. I hope you have found it interesting, and it has helped you understand the role played by certain very famous and relevant historical figures in the Second World War, as we also did with Queen Elizabeth II. Thank you all for being part of this community, especially the sponsors who make this possible. Subscribe and share this program if you liked it, and we'll see each other here as always, next Thursday and Sunday. See you soon.